Okay, guys, we are in the XC60 Polestar. Remember, this is a 2021 XC60 Polestar, not the latest generation. And we can tell that quickly by looking at the infotainment system. We also still have the drive mode selector and paddle shifter. So, yeah. This one has the twin-charged engine up front, turbocharged, supercharged, 2-liter 4-cylinder, and we also have the electric motors out back. Combined power, you're still looking around like 419, 415-ish horsepower range. The newer ones have over 450 horsepower, so the new ones are going to get a bump in power, and we also lose the supercharger up front, and it's only turbocharged, but there's that more power up there. And the newer ones also, you can get that power in every plug-in hybrid XC60. And the Polestar one really is just going to give you those more aggressive Olin suspension, the forged wheels, the Polestar badges, these really more aggressive seats and gold seat belts right here, as well as the upgraded braking system. So let's get started. Put our gold seat belt on nice and tight, and I'll show you guys what this experience is like. Now, the vehicle is actually on right now. It's in hybrid mode, and the engine's not running because, of course, this can run in fully electric modes. And you can adjust all that stuff from your infotainment settings if you want, or you can press the drive mode selector, which I don't believe exists anymore, unfortunately. You can see you can drive in pure eco mode, which is pure electric driving, hybrid, your individual customized settings, Polestar engineered, and an off-road mode, which is really, really cool. For these purposes, let's start into Polestar engineered. You can hear the engine kick on, and that's going to give us all the power. It's also going to be charging the battery, so it kind of maintains all that power, and then we can actually have power going to the rear wheels, as there's no physical connection from the front engine and the rear wheels. The rear wheels is only driven by an electric motor, which is really interesting. So let's set off. Now, you can pop into drive or into B mode. B mode is essentially in a more aggressive regenerative braking mode to help introduce more charge into the battery pack, which is really cool. Otherwise, you're off to go, and it's really, really simple. And if you want, you can put on your maps and other stuff. It does have Apple CarPlay and all those systems in the infotainment system. So let's head off. You also may notice that we have the Bowers & Wilkins upgraded audio system, which is fantastic. Great, great option to have. Now, hopping in the Polestar XC60, what is it like? It's a really unique offering, as it's not a simple like appearance sport package. There is stuff that is actually changed here. The steering is a little bit more stiffer. The suspension is way stiffer than a normal XC60, thanks to those Olin's dampers that are manually adjustable, not automatic adjustable. So you actually have to physically go under the hood to adjust them, and if you want to adjust the rear ones, you're gonna have to take the wheels off, and I think it's more recommended for dealers and shops to do, actually. Now, with this power, is pretty nice, and you do get a really cool kind of blend of the supercharger whine and the turbo whine. So there's a really cool kind of mix of sounds going on there. You can kind of hear that when it's shifting down. Now, this is paired to an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and I haven't found too many issues with the blending of the powertrains. There's a little bit of some hesitation sometimes. But I will have to say that the steering itself feels very video gamey. I know Volvo's steering isn't like their main priority. The priority is safety and I guess kind of like stylish looks these days with the more of an upscale appearance. But even in the firmer setting, it feels very, very video gamey, and not much feel is going on to those front wheels at all. Like, I don't really know what's happening with those front wheels, even though it is more like artificially stiffer, I guess, for that sportier driving experience some people may be looking for. And it does handle, I guess, better than a normal XC60. The power is pretty readily accessible as well. It does handle better than a regular XC60. If you want your family crossover to handle better, it does do that. But I do think this suspension compromises the ride quality of a regular XC60 if you're not looking for this. It is really, really stiff in here. You can feel it. You're going over bumps. I don't know if the camera might even be able to see it, but it's pretty stiff. So if you're not looking for that, you can actually get a regular XC60 now with the same powertrain. You're just not going to get the gold seat belts and the Polestar badges. And I believe there actually is a Polestar optimized tune you can even have on those powertrains. It may not be as aggressive as like the full Polestar engineered model, but I think that is an option as well. I think one of the main highlights about this is that you are able to drive in EV only mode. I believe this generation, before they updated them, you got around 19 to 20 miles of EV range if you really pushed it, which is pretty cool. So you can just charge this thing if you're going around town all the time and just drive it in EV mode and not really care about wasting fuel. But when you want all that power, you have the gas engine to kick on, and it can also charge the battery if you need it as well. And if you are really looking for more of a sporty driving, like a real sporty driving experience that's a little bit more connected, you're gonna want to go with a competitor. Even the Genesis GV 70 handles better, and I think drives much better. This is just like Volvo's attempt at being a little bit more sporty, and I think it works in its own kind of unique aspect. But if you're going into this thinking it's gonna be like a BMW competitor or something, you might be a little bit disappointed. But like I said, there is no shortage of power in this thing at all. It is pretty fantastic. And it's an efficient power source, as it is a plug-in hybrid, which is really cool. You do also have Volvo's safety systems built in, so they have their pilot assist and their cruise control, which is really fantastic. Blind spot monitoring, all your cameras, all that stuff, which we all love in the Volvos as well. And this beautiful Bowers & Wilkins audio system to keep you entertained in the vehicle while you're on some nice road trips or doing some road carving in your XC60 Polestar. There's always a lot of interesting sounds happening under the hood of this thing as well, with that supercharger and the turbocharger kind of acting together. And that supercharger actually only kicks in at lower RPMs, and I believe the turbocharger kicks in at higher RPMs to kind of keep the power band going. It's really interesting of an engine, but I believe the complexity is kind of why they're just going back to turbochargers now at this point, kind of reduce that complex situation going on there. I think we have a little bit of a curve here that we can kind of test the handling here. We're running a Michelin rubber as well. A little bit more aggressive than you're going to find on your regular XC60. I do have to say, I like these brakes a lot, actually. They work really well. And I can definitely tell you that it handles a corner a lot better than a regular XC60. It does feel more planted and more kind of connected all together as a vehicle package. The other one, the regular XC60s, definitely are a little bit softer tuned, more comfortable on the road. I have to say, the XC60's normal suspension isn't the best thing on the planet either. I think it handles bumps well, but it does, I feel like the vehicle becomes a little unsettled sometimes. Oh wow, that's dangerous. The vehicle becomes a little unsettled sometimes in the regular one. This one definitely feels more tighter and composed around a corner, and that's thanks to the Olin system. But you have to think of it, at the end of the day, this is a family crossover, and I don't believe it intrinsically was designed to be a sporty vehicle. So I think all these modifications are kind of compromising, or kind of like trying to complement what they're trying to do here. But from the ground up, it's not kind of a sporty platform. I love hearing that supercharger whine. That's so unique. Wow, everyone is honking today. Get a load of that. I mean, yeah, there's not much else to talk about here. I believe Volvo is going all EV, so this might be your last chance to get like a new plug-in hybrid from Volvo. And like I said, go straight for the new Polestars. I honestly would like to drive one of those more versus this one, as I'm kind of more intrigued about that newer, more powerful powertrain without the supercharger. I think it's a little bit smoother. I've driven the regular XC60, the new Recharge, XC60 Recharge they're called now, with that powertrain, and it's essentially the same vehicle minus the tighter suspension, the tighter steering, more aggressive tires and brakes, like I said before. And it's quick. I can tell you right now, it is really fast. And this is quick too. It's just like 50 horsepower more, but that one I feel like is a little bit more refined in the powertrain department versus this generation of this powertrain. So we're gonna go over more bumps here. Oh wow, yeah, that's all significantly stiffer than the regular XC60s. It really is just gonna come down to your preferences, and these do get violently expensive. The Polestar engineered versions are going into the $70,000 range, and there are some options you can even throw onto that that'll make it even more expensive. And at that point, you have to be a really niche buyer. Now, these Polestar engineered models are actually pretty rare. They don't make that many of them, and there's also not that many of them on the road. So they do also like to hold their value well, which I guess is a plus if you want to resell them. But if you're looking to get one, it might be a little bit more difficult. And this powertrain and kind of Polestar engineered offering is also offered on almost every single Volvo except for the XC90 and the S90. So the 90 series does not get a Polestar engineered version. You can get a Polestar engineered S60 sedan. You can get a Polestar engineered V60 wagon, and of course the XC60 as well. And the XC40s also don't get it either. So yeah, I really just want to show you guys my kind of like on-site first impressions of, I guess, the Polestar lineup, and wanted to kind of share what it is like to drive with it with you guys. And it's definitely a unique offering. So if you want one, try to find one and try to test it and see if you like it or not. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining me on this video, and stay tuned for a lot more content coming soon from Allcarnews. Cheers.